All right, everyone, welcome back into another NBA DFS video. We have a pretty interesting slate today where we're getting a lot of value. I'm actually going to start this video off with showing you guys a build that I like that has like $4,000 left over. Obviously, we wouldn't do that, but it'll be a good example of really the slate that we have. So yes, this is what I'm referring to, guys. We are getting a lot of pretty solid value, especially like in the mid-tier range, about 5.5 to about 4K range, where there's just a lot of good value, and a lot of that is coming from the Pacers game. And so let's just go ahead and start there. So we got Chicago versus Indiana here, guys, and again, we are getting some pretty good value here in this game. We'll start with the Pacers. So I just start out with the Pacers in here and just sorting it by value. So we got Isaiah Jackson popping up as one of the better values. Now he is currently projected for 22 minutes. I will say that could end up being wrong. I do think this could end up being a spot where either we're going with Jay Huff or with Isaiah Jackson. Right now, the projection data has Jay Huff about 16 points. Now, that could end up being enough for him. But we look at what Jay Huff's been able to do over the past several of games now with a lot of the Pacers out, and a lot of those same Pacers are still out. He's been able to get a decent amount of run, guys, 22, 28, 18, 26, and 27 minutes. Assuming this game stays close and he doesn't get into foul trouble, he could end up being in for a smash spot. I actually like him a little bit better. I think the projection data is off on his projections. That being said, I'm fully in line with Isaiah Jackson being one of the better values on the slate here as well. If he ends up getting around 20 minutes here as well, he should be able to get to around 17 or so DFS points. I actually think you could get away with playing both of them. This is going to end up being a pretty good spot here in this game against the Chicago Bulls. And again, guys, looking at the game, it's 242 for our game total, and it's a 3-point spread. So obviously we want to be getting some plays here from this game. Another decent value is Pascal Siakam. He's going to be a good pay up. We got Mathurin looking like a pretty good play. And then you also have Andrew Nebart, who could end up sitting, which would just mean that's like TJ McConnell, who's popping up as a great value, would be an even better value. And he's already someone that I think we should just be loading up into our build. Okay, but this is really the problem with the slate, is that we are getting TJ McConnell at such a discount where he should be at least 5.5. I would say that'd be appropriate for him. Now, the issue with him as well is going to be the minutes. We do need him to get around 22 minutes, which in a close game, I would expect him to get. And if he does get that in this high scoring game, he should be able to go off. And so I think these are going to be the two that I'm pulling from the most. Now we go ahead and jump on into the Bulls. And I will say there isn't much here that I love, although I think we can kind of get to either Vucevic, Ayo, we get to Kobe White, or Josh Giddey. I don't think any of them are necessarily plays we have to be going out of our way, but I do think they're all definitely in play. It's just a matter of kind of a little bit of getting lucky there with them, which I know isn't the best analysis, but that's really just what it is. I want to go ahead now and jump on into the Brooklyn versus Milwaukee game. For the Bucks, it is really dependent on whether or not Giannis ends up playing. We do see that the data has the Bucks project to win by 11.3 points. I think that means two things. One, Giannis is probably going to end up playing, and if he does, he's kind of just an easy click on the slate. We also do have Kevin Porter Jr., who could end up being back today. Now, this is what's interesting to me, guys. We have Kevin Porter Jr. projected for 25 minutes. If he ends up playing, I could see Giannis potentially sitting, and if Kevin Porter Jr. ends up playing, how much will that impact Ryan Rollins? Are they going to ease Kevin Porter Jr. back into this? We don't know. We definitely need to get some clarification on this, okay? Kyle Kuzma is coming in off of a massively good shooting day in the previous game. He is someone that would obviously benefit if Giannis were out. So it is tough to tell you guys exactly what to do here. Although if Giannis is active, I think we are just looking at playing him. And then we get into the Brooklyn Nets. We are getting some value here as well. So for Brooklyn, guys, I'm kind of expecting Michael Porter Jr. to end up sitting. And if he does, we got Demon looking like a pretty good play. Martin would become an even better play. Man becomes a very good play. And Noah Clowney, I think, is actually going to be one of the better plays in general already. If we get news that Michael Porter Jr. is going to end up sitting, he's going to be someone I want to be going out of my way to target as well. He definitely becomes more of a, I don't want to say must play, but I mean to get a lot more exposure to Clowney if Michael Porter Jr. is out. But for now, Demon is popping up as a pretty solid value, and Martin is also pretty darn appealing. And so we go ahead and put in Demon, guys, coming in off of a very good game. That's actually my biggest concern, is that he is coming in off of a big game, but Michael Porter Jr. was out, and in that game, he ended up shooting the basketball 18 times. And so that is something that I do want to pay attention to, and that is, to me, very intriguing. I'm perfectly fine chasing that production. And then, yes, Clowney as well, coming in off of, a bunch of good games in a row. If he continues to get that run, and again, especially if Michael Porter Jr. Warriors out. Even if they end up getting blown out, I think the minutes are pretty secure. I am happy to get to them. I should say content to get to them. I don't want to say happy, but that's kind of the slate that we have. Now, for Miami versus Detroit, I personally don't love that much here. I think there's some okay spots. But for me, I think I'm basically just going off of what the data is telling us. I don't want to get to Davion Mitchell, but like it's okay. Like if I'm closing up my builds with Tyler Hero, I'm fine doing that at 8K. Same thing with Ban. If I'm in that price range, need a center, I'm fine with that. And then Detroit as well. Basically the exact same things for me there. Cade Cunningham, we are going to have salary to pay up for. We could certainly do that. Jalen Duren, we know he has the upside to really go off on any slate. Don't really mind that as well. Although the matchup with Miami should be more difficult. I don't know if it necessarily will be. And now we go ahead and get to the Pelicans versus the Warriors, guys. I really like chasing the form of Bay. He's went off for 40 plus fantasy points in now 3 straight games. That's basically without Herbert Jones, where his minutes have been extremely high. And we know the issue with the Pelicans is just, hey, is the game going to stay close or not? And now when we take a peek at his projections, guys, he's not going to project all that well, okay? And I'm just kind of saying, no, he's going to continue to shoot the basketball well. We only have him projected for 13.5 points. That's a bet that I actually bet the over on prize picks wise. And honestly, that's probably the safest route to get exposure to him is betting on that. But at 5.5, I'm happy to chase that upside. 40-point upside at 5.5 in a similar spot. Like, I'm okay with that. And it is 8.5-point spread. We do have to worry about that a little bit, but overall I think that is well worth the risk. And again, this is kind of my theme of the video, is that there's just like too many pretty solid plays. Now we do know that Curry is still going to be out, and with Curry being out and Kuminga is questionable, we have to see what happens there. But I don't necessarily love any of the Warriors here as well. The data isn't necessarily saying any of them are must plays as well, so I think we can just move on into the last game, and then we go ahead and jump into this Denver versus Phoenix game. We do know that Denver is still going to be without Julian Strawther, most likely. Aaron Gordon is out as well, and then Braun is obviously out as well. And so with that, guys, I actually do like getting to Peyton Watson a decent amount at his price tag. Now he is not as like great of a play in terms of upside as I will say, like, it sounds weird, Clowney or like Huff or Demon, kind of at somewhat similar price tags, or even TJ McConnell. But at the same time, he does still hold some upside. Like we do see a 50 point out of him, a 44 point out of him. Like that is still there. It's kind of an appealing matchup to me against the Suns. I do expect him to continue to play well. The minutes should be there for him. And just, I think he has a lower floor is really what I'm trying to get at there. Although at his price tag, I do think he's certainly a play. Fine playing him in that small forward spot. And then for the Suns, I don't mind the idea of just getting some exposure to like Colin Gillespie. I think he's fine. He's obviously been playing extremely well recently. A little bit of riding the hot hand, but he is someone that should have a pretty high floor. We do know that Dylan Brooks is going to shoot the basketball a lot. He really hasn't shot the basketball well over the past couple of games. And so all it takes is him to make a couple more buckets. And so he ends up being a pretty appealing play, especially if you're not going to end up on Gillespie. And then Royce O'Neal's been fine. Like I don't know if we necessarily need to go out of our way to target him, but I'm going to get to Colin Gillespie here. And then again, this is a very similar lineup to the one I just gave you guys. But let's see what the data, or let's see who we can end up on at 8.2. Vucevic in that very high scoring game against the Pacers. I think I would be okay with that. I think we could look at about 45 DFS points out of him. And again, I think that should end up being pretty good. But that's kind of my thoughts. Let's go ahead and see what the data, the 9-to-5 lineup builders telling us is a good build out here as well. And so here we go, guys. I'm just going to sort this by total projected points. And as you can see, we are going to have a pretty high floor for today's slate. We are getting to a decent amount of Pacers here in this build, maybe a little bit too much, but again, it's a very high game total with a close spread. So we do want to be targeting that game. It is the early game as well, which I think I'm fine with. We are getting to Jokic here in this build. I'd be fine getting to Giannis if he is active. Again, I don't know if he's going to be active. We do need to get news on Kevin Porter Jr. as well. If they both end up sitting, Ryan Rollins becomes a more appealing play, but you guys get the point. We are definitely going to be paying up for the studs that we are getting on the slate due to the amount of value that we are getting, and this lineup does project pretty well. We could easily switch to Jay Huff here in this top lineup as well to end up with a very solid build there. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. If you guys would like access to that tool, that 9-to-5 DFS lineup optimizer for DraftKings, as well as the DraftKings cheat sheet, head on over to 9to5sports.com. Get access to all the tools on the website for a low monthly cost of $10 a month. Appreciate you guys being here. Good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.